Welcome to Ford White Sox warm-up from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. We walk you up to the White Sox and Cardinals, game number 2 of a 2-game series. Thanks for being with us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone, along with you. And the Sox, we've talked about, get such a positive impact from James Shields in the clubhouse this year as the veteran leader. Last night, he helped out the bullpen and the team. 6 innings of 2-hit ball.
There is no doubt that the starting rotation is getting pretty good. In fact, 5 games in a row in Kansas City, very good starts. And last night, Shields was unbelievable. Give up a leadoff home run to Tommy Pham. He only gave up 1 other hit. He fanned 4. He didn't walk anybody. He had pinpoint control. More than that, he was able to change speeds. We saw a little bit of the old James last night. He was in line for a win. Unfortunately, he didn't get it. But we told you about the numbers. 1 earned run, that's a leadoff home run. And other than that, he was absolutely unhittable. He put his team in a position to win. And that's all a starting pitcher can do.
You said it in game. The changeup looked as good as we've seen in a while.
Yeah, the changeup was very good. Also the cutter, which is usually good. He was using it backdoor, meaning shaving off the outside corner to a left-hand hitter or starting it at the right-hand hitter and nicking the inside corner. He did that well last night. Next time out, I can't wait for James to take the mound.
Sox and Cardinals coming up. Coming up next, we'll tell you about a Sox minor leaguer who has a stake in this series, especially. That's after this.
The Ford Warm-Up Show is brought to you by Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. And by Danley's. When you think of garages, think Danley's.
Great day for baseball in St. Louis. Game number 2 of the series in the shadow of the arch. And the Sox drafted Jake Burger in the first round of the Major League Baseball draft last year. He was injured in spring training, ruptured his left Achilles. He's done for the season. But this series is very close to his heart, especially because he grew up here. But the Sox drew his attention a little bit faster than the Cardinals.
Konerko is by far my favorite. And then obviously Tomey and Jermaine Dye. And I mean, Brzezinski, it was such a fun year in '05. I mean, I say the White Sox won my heart over before the Cardinals because I grew up in St. Louis. And the White Sox won in '05 and the Cardinals won in '06. So it's like the White Sox kind of captured my imagination before the Cardinals did. So, no, but it was awesome watching those guys. And I think that's kind of what we strive to be as a young core, be like those guys and, you know, have that relationship with the fans and, you know, just like the blackout game and just things like that, you know, they create such a great relationship between the fans and the players.
And that relationship has built between Jake and the White Sox. You may remember when he was drafted by the Sox, Paul Konerko gave him a call and they got to chat for the first time. We wish Jake the best as the Sox take on the Cardinals in game number 2. Coming up after this, Ford White Sox warm-up closes up. First pitch just around the corner from St. Louis.
You to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. And by Danley's. When you think of garages, think Danley's.
Sox led for the bulk of the game in last night's first affair in this series, and they try and take a win to split the 2 in St. Louis before the Cardinals head to Chicago later on this season. We'll tell you about the starting pitchers in this one. 2 good youths on the mound in St. Louis this afternoon. That's coming up. Beautiful day for baseball in St. Louis. Sox try to make it Splitsville against the Cardinals after a tough loss last night. Game number 2 of a very brief 2-game series. Thanks for joining us once again. Jason Benetti, Steve Stone along with you. Cardinals came back late in the game yesterday. Sox got a great pitching performance from James Shields. Today, 2 very good young pitchers on the mound.
There's no doubt that Martinez has unbelievable stuff, but so does Giolito. And last time out, we saw it because he could actually feel his fingers. He had a rough go early because he seemed to get the worst of the weather. And being pretty much a finesse pitcher with a very good fastball, he has to get that feeling. He had it last time out. I do believe he'll have it again today. Carlos Martinez is electric. 1.43 ERA. He's 2-1. One of the best pitchers on this staff. One of the best pitchers in the league, actually, if he puts it all together, and he's on the verge of doing just that. So there is a matchup. Last time out, Lucas was terrific against Kansas City, and Carlos Martinez was equally as good against the Mets. These 2 guys are young, they're talented, should be a whale of a pitching matchup. We had a good ball game last night. Unfortunately, the ending wasn't all that good.
Sox are trying to even it out here today before heading home to take on the Twins. Under the sunlight in St. Louis, Sox and Cardinals coming up.
White Sox baseball is brought to you by your Chicago and Northwest Indiana Hyundai dealers. Test drive a Hyundai today. Xfinity has the largest gig speed network, serving more homes than anyone else. Ford, inviting you to visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Choose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, the card to carry through it all. Wintrust, home of Sox checking and debit cards. Open an account today at wintrust.com/Sox. And by your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Audi dealers. Visit AudiOffers.com for exceptional offers on select Audi models.
Fastest internet and best in-home Wi-Fi experience. Call or visit an Xfinity store today. Ricky Renteria's starting lineup goes like this. Couple of switch hitters at the top, Moncada and Sanchez. Delmonico out of the 4th spot, Davidson out, Garcia. Another switch hitter in center, all the way down to the pitcher, Giolito.
We'll take a look at the defense for the St. Louis Cardinals and Mike Matheny. It's Ozuna, Pham, and Fowler in the outfield with Carpenter, DeYoung, Wong, and Martinez in the infield. You got Yadier Molina once again behind the plate, and Carlos Martinez on the hill. Hard-throwing youngster. He's got 98, 99 in his pocket. Can reach triple digits if he wants to, but he pitches comfortably anywhere from 93 to 95. There you look at the numbers. He's been very good. ERA of 143. He can be close to unhittable. So we're ready for baseball. I'm ready to turn it over to my irascible partner, Jason Benetti.
Always, Steve. Thank you. First pitch is a ball, and we are underway in St. Louis. 12:15 first pitch time on another wonderful day for baseball in the Midwest. Moncada very quickly ahead of Martinez, who gave up all of 2 earned runs in the month of April.
He's got a very good changeup. The fastball crackles, and he's starting to mix in a cutter more than a slider. And that cutter keeps a lot of the hitters off that straight change, and Moncada just fouled one off his foot. That can't feel real good.
Carlos Martinez, you see how the stuff moves based on this. Down the middle, hitters are batting .214 against him. Down the middle.
That's pretty amazing. Well, that's just a testament to the late movement and the stuff that he has. Outfield is straight away, with DeYoung playing up the middle at short.
.81 degrees at first pitch here in St. Louis. How beautiful is that? Welcome to summer.
It's absolutely gorgeous, and Moncada's still feeling the effects of that foul ball. Let's take a look at the umpires with Sam Holbrook behind the plate. Ryan Blackney is at first, Jim Wolf, and then DJ Rayburn, who had the plate last night, is at third. So Hermie coming out. Talking to Moncada, the fact that he is still showing signs of the pain is not a good sign. Ricky Renteria comes out.
Here's another look. Yeah, right off the top of the foot.
We talk about the small bones in the hand, the top of the foot, pretty much the same situation. And so without a whole lot of skin there to protect against anything fouled off your anatomy, it becomes problematic. But it appears to me that he wants to stay in the game.
And that's indeed what will happen. The one thing it's difficult to do against Carlos Martinez, if there is one thing, there are many. Certainly one that stands out, as there's ball 4, has to do with his longevity. He's got the second longest active streak for starting pitchers into the 5th inning or later. 63 consecutive starts. Rarely does he get bounced early.
The Cardinals think the world of him, and why not? They also have a youngster we talked about last night, Alex Reyes, who is coming back. They believe the starting rotation, especially with Waka throwing it as well as he has, the starting rotation will be a strong point for them. We already know the bullpen has gotten better and better for them.
Bullpen threw 4 scoreless last night as Martinez misses away yet again to a lefty. Sanchez, the switch hitter, going left.
You have to wonder when he showed up at the park, and the only reason I say that is his last start, he showed up at the park 40 minutes before the game. So not a whole lot of lead time does this man need. He threw very well last time out, but that's not recommended.
Yeah, that falls under the don't try this at home file.
Very few guys will ever do that unless there's car problems or something else, but he just decided that's when he wanted to show up, and as well as he threw the ball last time out, maybe they'll encourage that down the road.
I'd assume they'd rather see him here a little earlier. On the ground at foul, 1-2 to Sanchez.
2015, Carlos Martinez went 14-7 with an ERA just over 3. So this is a guy that routinely picks up a lot of starts. The last 3 years especially, 29, 31, and 32. So he keeps on getting more durable as he gets a bit older. Not quite old by any stretch of the imagination, but he's got still a great upside.
To left field, and the Sox are in business here in the first inning. The first 2 on base.
Nice to see Yolmer back in the lineup. Had the night off last night. Matt Davidson playing third base and doing a nice job of it, but the lineup is better with Yolmer in it. This is a backdoor cutter, and he just takes it the opposite way. He doesn't try to do too much with it. You can almost see him guided out to left field. He knew exactly where he was going to hit it when he saw the pitch. If you try to roll over and hit that one for power, you probably ground into a double play.
6 earned runs allowed this year for Martinez. 4 have come in the first 2 innings. So 2 in the first and 2 in the second. And the Sox threatening here in the first this afternoon. This is a little reductive, but you want to get to Martinez before he's really paying attention.
Well, that can happen too, but he does throw a sinker. And when he's right, he's a ground ball machine. So it's very difficult to have a great sinker and yet be among the top strikeout pitchers in the game, but Martinez is both.
Oh, 1. Back of home. Molina has a play, 1 down. Enjoy guaranteed rate field just like a player. Play catch in the outfield, warm up in the bullpens, visit the dugouts, and much more. Take your experience to the next level and buy a premier ticket that includes hitting in the batting cages. Join us for Family Field Days Saturday, May 12th, and support Chicago White Sox charities. Visit whitesoxcharities.org.
Really different pitching philosophy these days. Martinez threw that baseball out of play. Normally, pitchers from a different era, when they see a scuff mark on anything, they love that. Because just what happens with a scuff mark, and I'll tell you after this pitch to Nicky.
What a tease. On the ground, on the infield. Long run for Carpenter and a tough play for out number 2. Moncada to third, Sanchez to second.
This is a tough play. Carpenter, we talked about, does not have a great arm, but he doesn't have to because he's literally 50 feet away from first base, able to make that play, and the runners move up. So with a scuff, you hold it. If you hold the scuff to your left, if you're a right-handed pitcher, the ball will pull to your right. If you hold it to your right, the ball will pull to the left. You hold the scuff on the bottom, the ball rises. You hold the scuff on top, the ball sinks. And so if you get a ball scuffed legally, and I'm not talking about doctoring the baseball, but if you get one scuffed legally, if you've worked out in the bullpen before on how it works, it can be your greatest weapon. But continually to throw the ball out means that you've never tried that and you don't realize the benefits of it. Now, there are some pitchers, I was told, that actually scuff the ball by design.
Oh, no.
And then make it move the various directions.
Back to the mound. Martinez recovers in a couple of ways. First 2 reach. Sox don't score. Bottom 1 coming next. Giolito to the mound in the Show Me State once again. Again, the leadoff homer last night. Carpenter, the big late home run. Then Martinez and Osuna. Molina, Fowler, DeYoung, Wong, and Carlos Martinez, who's not a bad hitter.
Let's take a look at the defense. and how Ricky is going to throw him out there today with Nicky, Leary, and Daniel in the outfield. Then Yolmer, Tim, Yohan, and Jose in the infield. Omar Narvaez gets a nod behind the plate. Lucas Giolito coming off his best outing of the year, trying to follow it up here in St. Louis. It is warm. It's fairly humid. That means that for a breaking ball pitcher, he loves this weather. Last 5 starts, not what he would like, but the last time out, he got the weather that he likes. He likes to pitch in short sleeves, as you can see. And we'll see if the breaking ball is better than it's been. You got to watch the fastball, the Pham, especially the first couple pitches.
Good placement. Strike one to Tommy Pham, who hit his longest career home run last night from that leadoff spot. It went 454 feet.
Last 6 games, he's batting .524 with 3 homers and 5 driven in this ballpark.
0-2 on Pham. Come see the White Sox take on the Minnesota Twins this Friday, May 4th, 7:10 p.m. Stay for a spectacular postgame fireworks show presented by Magellan Corporation. Buy your tickets today visiting whitesox.com or calling 866-SOX-GAME. You mentioned the curveball. Giolito threw 11 of them in his last start at Kansas City. That's his largest total of curveballs this year, you would expect, considering he was out of the freezer.
Yeah, he's gonna throw more of them because it was a good pitch last year. Very good pitch in spring training. This looks to be a changeup down.
Swinging strike 3. Pham goes down.
Narvaez wanted it down there, and that's exactly where Lucas threw it. So there's a good sign. This one just disappears, and Pham, at least this at bat, overmatched.
Now Matt Carpenter, who hit the home run late yesterday to tie the game, leading off the 9th inning. Tied the game at 2, then eventually the Cardinals walked it off with a Yadier Molina double. So the Cardinals had sort of a powwow with Carpenter the other day. Came into this series with a batting average around 160. And he said to a bunch of guys that were in the room, including John Mozeliak, the director of baseball here with the Cardinals, he said, look, I want to know what I can do differently. And they said, nothing. Don't do anything differently. We have data that suggests you are the unluckiest hitter in Major League Baseball. It'll turn around. Sox came in at the wrong time.
Well, he also found out that nobody will catch the ball if it's out of the ballpark. As you look at Mike Matheny, he managed game number 1,000 last night. And he's had a really good run at it.
That clipped Carpenter, so a 1-out hit batter. That's not ideal.
That is not ideal. Now, he doesn't do a great job of getting out of the way because his job is to get on base, especially in the first inning, especially as a table setter for Martinez, Ozuna, and Molina. So he did exactly what he should do, and if you're not swinging it real well, that ball gets close to you, just let it clip off, in this case, his elbow. And there are guys that have made a living at that.
They had one here, Fernando Vina,
Yep.
one of the best at getting hit. He doesn't get cheated,
Nope.
Martinez.
He leaves nothing to the imagination of what he wants to do to the baseball. We talked about Mike Matheny. He won game 560 as a manager. That's 560 and 440. 120 games over 500, and by any evaluation, that's really good.
Oh, 0-2 on Martinez, who broke his 6-game hit streak in yesterday's game. Sox held him down to 0 for 4.
Nice face-high fastball would look good, but I think it's going to be away.
downstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And the combination of Narvaez and Giolito still has that face-high fastball, but because his face is higher up than most people's at 6'7", you got to throw it a bit higher. You don't want to leave it letter high to him. He's got big power.
You have to clear a face-high fastball with the FAA.
That's a large fellow.
He's got a presence in the batter's box. This day and age, you don't have nearly as wide a variety of batting stances and swings, but this guy, you know when he's up.
Well, he's always had a pretty good launch angle because he's got an uppercut swing. For a right-hand hitter, that's not normally the case.
On the ground, could be 2, should be 2, and is. Double play around the horn, and the inning comes to an end. Giolito gets the bouncing ball, and we'll go to the 2nd inning scoreless.
Deals make for go-getters.
You like a go-to?
I like Dunkin' Donuts. Big fan. The cake donuts, so not the little puffy glazed things that people like to eat on occasion.
Donuts?
Cake donut. Really good.
The glazed ones are donuts too.
Yeah, but they're not a good donut.
Donuts are people too, Steve.
It's a sub-quality donut for me.
It's a value menu is what we're talking about. Narvaez takes ball 1 to start the 2nd inning.
Unless Omar gets an off-speed pitch or a slider down and in, he's going to go to right center field.
That's an odd step by DeYoung, who started toward the ball, then went back to second, and then the ball trickled by him. So Narvaez will take it. It's a leadoff single.
And that, I misspoke, that's where Omar hits the ball. He hits the ball to left and left center field if he gets a fastball. So slicing this ball away, and DeYoung couldn't read it. And that happens in the daytime, especially early games, because the people sitting in the stands are wearing a lot of white shirts. Yes, there is a sea of red here, but the white shirts, sometimes you get fooled. And DeYoung did. He was moving to his left. He couldn't redirect, and it cost a base hit.
Here's Daniel Palka, who has been a first pitch swinger in his brief career with the Sox. There he takes strike 1. Changing up the scouting report. Six out of 16 for Daniel, who's got a new nickname, by the way. That comes from his past. That ball's inside, 1-1. people have suggested a lot of nicknames with
the old
Polka,
right,
and
beer
all
barrel,
of that.
yes.
Beer Barrel, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Nicky Delmonico said, "Hey, ask Daniel what his nickname is." Daniel looked back at Nicky and said, "You say it." And evidently, the players are calling him Pocahontas.
Well, that's something anyway. At least they're giving you a nickname.
But here's
instead of hey buddy or pal or
dude, guy, my man. 1-1. Now 1-2. The thing is, he brought it on himself, though. He told his teammates that back in elementary school, there was this one girl that he knew who started calling him Pocahontas. So he brought it into the clubhouse. It's his fault if he doesn't like it.
Well, that's true. It's a nickname that's going around these days, as a matter of fact.
Pocahontas?
Not exactly that pronunciation, but similar, yes.
Ball and 2 strikes on Daniel.
Meantime, Martinez cannot throw a ball straight. Everything he throws moves. He throws just under high 3/4, giving even more movement to the natural movement he has anyway.
What do you do with a guy like that if you're at the plate?
Well, the hitters, look, you're not going to look for his off-speed pitch. You're not going to look for his slider. You just, like last night when Hicks was on the mound, you look for his fastball. If you get it, you hit it hard. But he gets so much rotation on a pitch that he calls, you can call it a cutter. He added that to help nullify the left-hand hitters. But between that and the slider, he gets a lot of depth on his slider, most unusual.
Up the middle, DeYoung for 2.
And that's why Martinez is so good, and because he throws sinkers and he throws ground balls, and when he does get a man on, it's easily erased with a double play, and that's what happened there.
2 down, nobody on, and here's what went on around Major League Baseball last night. Gary Sanchez against the Astros in the 9th against Ken Giles with a game winner for the Yankees, but what happened afterward was really the intriguing part. Ken Giles was so frustrated with himself, he punched himself in the face.
Well, fortunately for him, they stopped it.
Stopped the fight.
They stopped the fight. He beat himself in the chest first and then figured, well, that's not painful enough, so I'll punch myself in the jaw.
Left side from Tim Carpenter with a TKO in round 2 for Carlos Martinez, thanks to a double play, no score. St. Louis, the Missouri Tour. Don't forget the homestand starts tomorrow. Free t-shirt Thursday. Bill Melton's shirt will be in attendance, and so will Bill, throwing out a first pitch.
He's still got plenty of arm left. He can't throw, but he's got plenty of arm left.
Oh, come on.
Sorry, Bill.
No, you're not. Ozuna swings through strike one.
And Narvaez has to beware, as last night did Castillo, with the long backswing of Marcell Ozuna. It's one of the longest in baseball, and the Sox have shifted appropriately.
Pop-up foul territory. Omar won't get there. Clangs off the sidewall. Your 2018 Chicago White Sox are presented by Guaranteed Rate, your home team throughout the season and the official mortgage provider of the Chicago White Sox. Get started today at rate.com. Couple of breaking balls to start Ozuna, now 0-2 from Giolito. And he gets him swinging. Strike three, 2 down via the strikeout for Giolito today.
That's a sweeping breaking ball. You can call it a curve, you can call it a slider. Ozuna calls it yet another strikeout, and he had no chance as he expanded his zone and couldn't get to it.
Lucas has both the sweeping curveball and then that kind of short curveball as well.
Which you can guess breaking ball, you just can't guess the velocity. And now we have one of last night's heroes.
Yadier Molina, who's hit to left, finished the game. And now here he is in trouble on a ground ball to third. Sanchez throws it wide, and Molina is on his way to second base. Nobody's there, so he gets there easily. A bleeder to third. And Sanchez whistled it wide of Abreu at first.
Got to be hitting an error on that one. It is single, E5, and for the second time in as many games in less than 24 hours, Yadier Molina, who cannot run a lick, winds up with 2 infield hits. He had one last night up the middle. Moncada could not play it. Yomer was playing deep, so he's got no chance in this. And sometimes you just want to put one in your pocket. Maybe he might have gotten him, but it would have been a very tough play.
Would have had to have been a perfect throw, like spot on throw. So a 1-out runner at second for Dexter Fowler, who was on deck when the game-winning run came across last night. Fowler had been the leadoff man for 16 games for this Cardinals team, but Tommy Pham has been so impressive in that spot. He's taken it over.
And with Fowler scuffling as he has, they have to have him doing it.
Molina, what?
Well, in a world of awful plays, that one will be written right up there. Because he's in scoring position, and I guess he's channeling Ricky Henderson or Billy Hamilton. But I'm not sure what got into the very slow running catcher, but he's gunned down easily at third base, and Lucas Giolito is very happy that the flying feet of Molina were tagged before he got to the bag.
Into left, and that will do it. Well, you never know what you're going to see at the baseball diamond. Yadier Molina trying to turn into Lou Brock.
97999, and the 300th texter is going to win a $30 gift card. Subway, so much sandwich.
So much base stealing from Yachty with 58 steals for his career. Okay, so it's not like he never tries to do what we just saw.
Right. He just hasn't done it for a while.
Trying to steal third.
That falls into the "What are you doing" segment of the program,
which is a great news segment we have planned for you. It's called "What Are You Doing?" And every time Yadier Molina tries to steal third, we'll play. Lucas is 1 for 4 career at the plate.
This might surprise you, by the way.
Is that right?
Yes.
What's that?
Molina had 12 stolen bases in 2012. 12 of them. Now last year, amazingly enough,
he had 9
of them.
Yeah.
So he will run. But usually it's not after he sprinted to first base and then sprinted to second base, and a pitch or so later he's trying to sprint to third base.
Yeah, it's even more situational than anything. You're already in scoring position. All right. There you have it. Yohan Moncada, right side, and speared by Martinez. There's the height playing a role. 2 down.
At 6'7", you're going to keep a lot of these out of the outfield, the smaller first baseman, and that is going into right field. I think he's pointing to his glove, looking at a few folks in the Sox dugout, saying, yep, I can field. Yeah, you didn't think I could field when I was there, did you? But I can field, you see. I made that play.
Is that what he said?
I'm pretty sure he was looking over there with a big smile on his face and pointing to his glove.
Well, I didn't know if you, I thought you just had the greatest lip reading moment in history.
Well, could very well be from, at this distance, not so much.
On the ground, second base, Colton Wong retires the side. Quick inning for Martinez, thanks to the other Martinez. No score. I'll bet you that Paul DeJong doesn't swing at the first pitch.
What's it been, 10 years since he has?
Oh, no. There's no loaded dice here.
Sure.
You in?
No. I will never wager you on something you propose, because there has to be a trick.
I don't know about that. DeJong against Giolito.
Wasn't going to swing at that anyway, so you'd have won by default. But I would have to disqualify you.
Why is that?
For a nefarious plot. For a guy who never swings at the first pitch.
Only 12% of the time does he swing at the first pitch.
So you had an 88% overage there.
I swung at the second one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Both of them equally out of the strike zone, but a good spot for it.
That's it's 6th in Major League Baseball in fewest first pitch swings for a batter. Number 1 is Joe Mauer. Care to guess how often Joe currently swings at the first pitch?
4%.
Lower.
Really?
Yeah.
No percent?
2.8% of the time.
Usually those are guys not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. Mauer is not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. And apparently either is DeYoung out of Illinois State.
And the pre-med major flies the ball to right field. 1 down. Colton Wong coming up. Sox fans and school teachers, Weather Day presented by WGN-TV is on May 24th. The Sox take on the Orioles. It's 1:10 p.m. Prior to the game, join WGN-TV's chief meteorologist Tom Skilling for a fun presentation including weather videos, trivia, and more. For more information, visit whitesox.com/WGN. His favorite day of the year
Is
at the
Weather Day.
ballpark.
He can get really in depth on the weather. If you let him, he would speak for, I don't know, 6 months.
It's a ground ball to first. It's foul. You think he'd stop at 6 months?
No. Well, no, that's his passion. And Baltimore is the opponent that day. The question being, when did they decide to do a major deal for Manny Machado? And of course, that probably won't be till a little closer in the trade deadline, because I don't think he would sign an extension to the contract. I think he'll test free agency. But the Orioles are 8-21.
Somebody's going to pay dearly for Manny Machado.
You would think so, yeah. Especially because he is playing shortstop, but we know he can play third, so he can play just about anywhere in the infield if you want him. But he's a very good shortstop. He was a great third baseman.
That was strike 3.
It was indeed, and I think Omar might be having a word or two with Sam Holbrook.
You should get 1 pitch a game that you can review, and if it's in the middle of the strike zone, you get it. There, we just fixed instant replay. 1-2. But now, for Giolito, it's a matter of not letting that affect you.
And if Wong was thinking about getting on base, he moved too quickly out of the way of that soft slider, because if that just touches off the leg, he's going to first. He's a good guy to throw outside because he'll roll over it and ground it to the right side, but they're going inside on him.
On 2-2. And it's upstairs to cut him down. 3rd strikeout for Giolito.
This is more the Lucas that we saw the end of last year and in spring training. He's not an overpowering pitcher, but because he does throw a lot of off-speed stuff, that high fastball he uses to his best advantage. And so far, he's got just about everything going for him.
He's up, down, in, out today, for
Yep.
sure. He has faced the minimum thanks to a double play and a caught stealing for the ages. Martinez takes a strike.
Martinez swings it pretty well, so you can't take him for granted. 8 out of 9 first pitches have been strikes.
Tim at short, comes after it and throws out Martinez. 1-2-3 for Lucas Giolito. We got ourselves a pitcher's duel.
White Sox debit card only available at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/White Sox to learn more. Wintrust Community Bank, member FDIC. You want the good news or the bad news?
I will take the good news.
Good news is Lucas Giolito is throwing it just like he did last time, which is really good. Bad news?
I didn't want the bad news.
Well, you're getting it anyway. The bad news is in the first inning of Carlos Martinez's last 5 starts, he gave up 2 earned runs. In all other innings, covering his starts at 31 1/3 innings, he's given up no earned runs. So that is the bad news. If you don't get him early, and you can't get him a lot, but if you don't get him early, you usually don't get him. So Lucas got to make some really good pitches, and so far both pitchers are, if not unhittable, pretty close to it.
Martinez has thrown 30 pitches through 3 plus 2 now to Abreu.
He slings that changeup, and guys are swinging at the motion. Now, you can't read it because it's the same release point. More importantly, it's the same arm velocity as his fastball. And bear in mind, he's got another 4 miles an hour if he needs it on the fastball. We will see it later in the game, a la Verlander.
This one to right, and that is a base hit for Abreu, who's going for 2. Fowler's throw is offline. Abreu testing Dexter Fowler, ends up on his backside with 2 bases.
We told you early in this series that Dexter Fowler, who was a very good center fielder in his day, does not have close to a right fielder's arm. That ball squibbed off the end of the bat, and Jose, who's running the best of his career right now, takes a slider off the end of the bat. He's thinking about 2. He knows it's going to Fowler, and he knows that Fowler does not have a powerful arm. This throw is off the mark, and leading off the inning with the Sox looking for a run, couldn't be a better sign. Good hustle on the part of Jose.
Think he'll think about stealing 3rd?
Yeah, if they shift and Carpenter is right next to him, then he'll try to beat him to the bag.
You never know in this game. You never know.
You think you know, but you don't really know.
Nicky takes ball 1 after swinging at the first pitch for a ground out in the first.
He's got to pull this one, and that would have been a pretty good play, but DeYoung lost the ball. It was a good solid throw by Martinez. It would have been late anyway, but it certainly gives Jose something to think about.
Ball and no strikes on Delmonico. There's a strike, 1-1. You saw the close-up on the face of Martinez before that hit by Abreu, and as he was shaking off the signs from Molina, he kind of just looked lackadaisical, like, whatever. When he nodded, he basically said, sure, is the look on his face. Just foul. 1-2 on Nicky, and part of the reason he can be a little bit cavalier is people don't hit him very hard. Lowest slugging percentage this season in Major League Baseball coming into today. He's 4th.
Johnny Cueto just went back on the disabled list, so he's going to keep that 206 for quite some time, but he's going to be useless to the Giants. Sean Manaea, a revelation out in Oakland. He's been absolutely brilliant. And quite obviously, when you look at slugging percentages that low, these pitchers at least are dominating.
Down the line and foul. You're completely missing barrels at that point.
I mean, the movement of all of those guys, the movement is exceptional. Cueto is also a trickster. He will change arm angles. He'll turn his back to the hitter. But again, he's hurt, and that's something San Francisco doesn't need. They already have Bumgarner hurt. Now they lost another.
Samardzija was hurt earlier this year in spring training.
You know, in looking over the list of those pitchers, you got San Francisco, Oakland, Miami, St. Louis, and Houston. Houston is in a dome, as you know, retractable. But they're all relatively warm weather pitchers because that's what they play in. And that's one of the reasons why pitching has dominated in a lot of areas that are not Midwest and East because of the frigid conditions. It certainly affected Lucas Giolito, and he wasn't the Lone Ranger in that department.
What's the coldest weather you ever pitched in?
Well, in high school, I mean, being born and raised in Cleveland, we'd have 24 games on the high school baseball schedule. 18 of those games were played below 40 degrees. But the most uncomfortable was Candlestick Park in San Francisco. That was horrible.
The wind.
Because summertime comes in October. And so you're getting a tremendous amount of wind. You're also getting freezing cold.
Into the glove, strike 3. Nicky punches out. That is the first strikeout for Martinez this afternoon.
Probably going to be the first of many. This is on the changeup. And because of his repertoire, you can't even come close to sitting on any pitch at any velocity. Because he will throw you the cutter. He will break it a little bit bigger. You can call that a slider if you want. He's got a great straight change, and he's got a fastball that he probably throws at 3 or 4 different velocities. That's the toughest idea for young pitchers. Making your fastball, not just the 2 and 4 seamer, but making the 2 and 4 seamer into 2 or 3 pitches each, which really expands what you can do.
And they have this concept called tunneling, where you check and see on video or live when 2 pitches split apart, essentially, how long each pitch looks similar to another pitch. So the idea being, the longer the pitches stay the same that are different pitches, the tougher it is for the hitter to pick up which one is which.
That's the whole concept behind a slider, especially the slider as it was originally developed, because it's supposed to look exactly like a fastball to the hitter until the very last instant, because a hitter's eyes are a computer. They know exactly what it takes to get the barrel of the bat out in front exactly where you should hit it. When the ball does something different late but identifies as that fastball, that's when the pitcher wins.
Did you find that there were pitches that when you sequenced them together, they worked best together?
We just didn't know about sequencing at that point, truly. We thought about, okay, this pitch is working, I'll go with that. But also, if you happen to face a team twice in 5 days, which sometimes happen on these home and home series, you got to give them something different to look at. And because I threw both a curve and a slider, I would do that routinely.
0-2.
But in case of Martinez and the Sox at this point, they might see him one more time, but that's iffy because there's a 2-game series back in our ballpark. And the odds of him pitching are, 40%.
Half-hearted swing, strike 3. Martinez back-to-back punch-outs.
Well, now that he gets the feel for the strikeout, you're going to see it more and more. So that's 2 in a row. Look at the movement on this one. That's almost in Molina's glove before Leary can pull the trigger.
That's 97 with movement.
And let's talk about the arms in the outfield. You run on Fowler every chance you get. Pham has got a strong arm in center field, and he's very fast. However, he's not accurate some of the time, more than most. And Ozuna is a Gold Glove left fielder. The problem has been that for the first time in his career, he's kind of starting to show the left fielder's arm, which normally is the worst arm in your outfield. Normally. There's exceptions to the rule, but left field is a place you go with a guy that doesn't throw particularly well.
That's a foul ball. Ball and a strike. Don't forget, $1 Hot Dog Wednesday.
Is that today?
No, it's coming up. It's every Wednesday home game this season.
Oh.
This unbeatable deal continues Wednesday, May 9th, as the Sox take on the Pirates. 1:10 p.m. Get your tickets at whitesox.com today.
That's not a $1 hot dog, but a hot dog nonetheless. And I do have an idea.
What's that?
Why don't the boys at the ballpark load us up with hot dogs so every Wednesday we can feel like it is $1 hot dog day? We'll just keep them in our bags and we'll heat them up on Wednesdays. I don't think that's a bad idea.
No, I don't either. I think it's a horrible idea.
I'll let you eat the hot dogs first and I'll see if you fall over. If you don't, then I get some $1 hot dogs.
So I'm your royal taster?
Yeah.
Is that basically what's happening?
Or guinea pig or something along those lines.
I like the other title a little bit more.
Oh, the Weasel?
No, the royal taster. 1-2, just missed, close pitch.
That was 98. 98 in a way, and he starts out throwing 93, 94, very comfortable fastball, and then all of a sudden 98 is right up upon you.
He's one of 12 guys in Major League Baseball, Martinez is, with 2 double-digit strikeout games this year. 2-2 on Narvaez. And there is strikeout number 3. They come in bunches for Carlos Martinez. Bottom 4 next. To 6 to Gwinnett. Michael Kopech, his 5th start in AAA this year. 6 innings, 3 earned runs, and there is one of his strikeouts against the Gwinnett Braves. A team that has some good young talent. Winston-Salem got a jewel of a performance from Dylan Cease. He went 7 innings and struck out 12. The young man who came over in the Jose Quintana deal. And nice fluorescence from the Lynchburg Hillcats. By the way, good looking jerseys, but Dylan Cease outstanding for Winston-Salem, which already has played today. And Kannapolis beat Hickory 8-5.
Blake Rutherford having a good night at 2 for 5. That's a left-handed bat that was a very, very high prospect with the Yankees before coming over, and he's got some skills, as do a whole lot of the Sox minor leaguers.
We got a chance to spend some time with Blake at Sox Fest this year, and a very nice young man, very fun to chat with about baseball, and a personality you may be seeing soon in White Sox colors in the next couple of years. He's driven in 4 today, Rutherford, as the Dash leads 9-2. Blake Rutherford with a triple in that game. And Joel Booker, one of the fastest guys in the Sox farm system, 3 for 5, 3 knocked in this afternoon. He's hitting .355.
It's pretty stout. 2 good curveballs to start off this at bat, and Pham, who is very aggressive on 3 pitches, still finds himself down 0-2. Last time was a high fastball away and out of the strike zone, so let's see if he goes back to that. Now it's going to be the breaking ball. Omar would like him to bounce it if he could, and he did. A little closer to the plate, but you have to applaud the effort. Nice stop by Omar, who was doing that just for practice. Now we're going to see an outside fastball. Let's see if it's off the plate and get some swinging again.
A little bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That one got away. That one was inside. Omar was sitting up low and away.
Breaking ball swung on, and strike 3 for Giolito. Here's your Sox math question for today. It's easy. It's only 2 steps. Hashtag Sox math on Twitter. First correct answer wins a prize from the road. Number of times the Sox scored last night multiplied by the jersey number of the player who drove in those runs. That's all. You got it?
I can even do that. What prize do I get from the road if I win?
7/8 drank lemonade.
And just by talking about it, I have lost, because I'm sure there are a whole lot of people that jumped on that one.
That's true. Can you find the hashtag before the inning's over?
No.
No one's in for a strike. Mentioned Winston-Salem was up 9-2. The Lynchburg team in the Carolina League has a player named Logan Ice. Sounds like a skateboarder.
Good name if he makes it.
Yeah.
Good name anyway, but a good name especially if he makes it.
0-1 to Carpenter.
Lucas realizing that he's got a very tough mound opponent in Carlos Martinez, and it's bringing out the best in him, because he's got the Cardinals either behind on his fastball or way ahead on his off-speed pitches. So far, there's been just a one-base hit, and that was Molina. That was of the infield variety. So Lucas looks like he's very much in charge today. Got to be careful with Carpenter, because he is a dead pull hitter, and if you get one middle in, especially down, he can put a charge into it.
That is up, and he's sent away. Giolito with strikeout number 5 this afternoon.
It's a welcome sight to have the Lucas we saw last year and in spring training back again. Took a little something off, and Carpenter swung through it. He did stay away. Good spot for it.
That's already 8 swinging strikes for Giolito through 3 2/3. And you can tell, I mean, the confidence, the mound presence, the demeanor is back to where we saw last year.
The last 2 games in the old Lucas, and that's good for a very young man.
It's got to be frustrating to not be able to throw the pitches you know you can throw, in part because of the weather.
Yeah, if you can't feel your hands very well, you're not going to be able to do it. And plus, he's been a warm weather pitcher his whole life, where he was born and raised, and so because of that, cold conditions are difficult, more difficult. I love the fact that he's threading the needle on the outside corner. Then he's using off-speed pitches to get ahead, and you get the hitters almost rocking. They're late on the fastball, they're early on the straight change, and when you do that, you get a dominating performance.
It's almost like watching a great tennis player run his opponent around.
Well, to me, it's obviously it's the essence of the game, because this is a team game, and yet it's built around that great individual competition between pitcher and hitter. And only then can the other players react. And so it's not only a physical endeavor, it's very much of a thoughtful endeavor. And so as a pitcher, you're exhausted emotionally, physically, and mentally when you get done with a performance.
Giolito aces the Cardinals' top 3. He strikes out the side. Did you say you want to see those again? Did you?
Sure, of course. Are you kidding?
Here they are. Tommy Pham, see you later. Matt Carpenter hit the bricks. Jose Martinez, goodbye.
That's brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
You'll be away for those games. Wimpy
Yes.
will join me and then Hawk on Sunday.
Be good for you guys to see Wimpy. He's a very funny man.
Carpenter at third, cuts it front and throws out Polka.
When Martinez is not striking him out, that sinker serves him well. 6 ground balls already. We're 1 out into the 5th inning, giving up just the 3 hits. But he has thrown a double play ground ball, which is the object of having a good sinker. You don't have to worry about home runs too much if you continually start it at the knees and winds up calf high.
Tim Anderson shows bunt. You see the 18 on the back of Carlos Martinez. He originally wore the number 44 when he was beginning his career, and then 4 years ago adopted the number 18. One of his very close friends, Oscar Taveras, the outfield prospect for the Cardinals, who they had very high hopes for, passed away in a car accident in the Dominican Republic. And so to honor Oscar Taveras, Martinez changed his number from 44 to 18.
Certainly a nice honor, and it's also served him very well.
Left center field, Tommy Pham. 2 down. Here's your Sox Math winner. Jay Rhesus has won for the 2nd time this road trip. 2 runs scored. Moncada wears 10. 2 times 10 is 20. That's your answer. Jay Rhesus, your winner. He'll be getting multiple napkins from the St. Louis Cardinals press box. Or something. 2 down for Giolito. You want to win Sox Math while we're on the road because you never know what you're going to get.
Well, normally I would give him what Nancy, a lovely young lady who helps us in the booth, she baked those sugar cookies.
Yeah.
I would give him one of those, but you and I are going to plow through those.
Yeah, there's no chance those remain.
No. Those are wonderful.
And we're just going to eat all of them because the Cubs are in here over the weekend, and I know Len Casper wants some, and there's no way I'll allow him to have that enjoyment.
No, we're also going to repossess her stove, so she won't be able to cook any cookies also. So, Len, bring your own.
You having the power to repossess anything is a terribly bad idea. 1, 2, 3 from Martinez. 10 paces here, Sox and Cardinals. Take on the Texas Rangers. First 20,000 fans get a Hawk solo bobblehead presented by TransUnion. Visit whitesox.com to purchase your tickets today. And by the way, we remind you that Sox Math is brought to you by Audi. Your local Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Audi dealers. Visit AudiOffers.com for exceptional deals. I ran into somebody at the ballpark during the last homestand, and he said, Sox Math went big time, and so did Sticks and Stone. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, they're sponsored now. As though they're Pinocchio, they're a real boy now because they're sponsored.
That's exactly right. Well, you have to monetize whatever it is you have. And so, fortunately, they were able to do that.
Thought you were going to say something about monetizing my nose then.
No, definitely not that.
Yeah, you wouldn't dare go there.
No, but if you sold it by the pound, you'd be a wealthy man.
And there you go. Ozuna, who's 0 for 1, takes ball number 1 from Giolito, who struck out the side in the 4th.
Yeah, it's about like renting space on my forehead for advertising.
Could show Jurassic Park on that thing. Anderson from the outfield grass is on target for out number 1. Only partner with letterbox format forehead.
Time now for our Xfinity high-speed replay. It's powered by Xfinity. And we'll take a look in the second inning. There goes Yadier. And down goes Yadier. 9 stolen bases last year, but no surprise party here as he's gunned down by the combination of Narvaez and Sanchez. In the meantime, we've got ourselves quite a pitcher's duel. Neither pitcher giving an inch. Both pitchers realizing that their opponent on the mound today is throwing it very well.
And for Giolito, 45 pitches. It's number 46 for a strike. Martinez thrown 60 times. There's no sign of this ending.
No. And Giolito's secret today is very simple. He's getting the first pitch over. So each and every one of these Cardinals, if they don't hit the first pitch, they're down 0-1. It's a good habit to get into. It's going to be a fastball away, and Yadier hits the ball well to right and right center.
To the pull side here. Tim's got time, and 2 gone.
That's what happens when you do try to pull that ball that's middle out. Usually you'll roll it over to the left side. Lucas is just bumping strikes. And he wants to work quickly, which is good. And he's got a great rhythm. He doesn't like that baseball as there was a scuff mark on it. These Cardinals have used 6 different guys in the 2 spot in the batting order. They're having a hard time figuring out exactly what to do there. Now that they've installed Pham at the top, they need a 2-hitter. The best on the team would be Molina.
You think?
Well, he's best suited to hit in the 2 spot, but he hits so well, they like him more in the middle of their order. So, I mean, we saw it last night. This guy will get you a clutch hit. And doesn't have the speed you'd like to see in a 2-hitter, but they're going with Carpenter now, who doesn't have speed, but they also then have a righty-lefty at the top.
What about Carpenter 1, Pham 2?
That could possibly be, but then you run into Pham, Martinez, Ozuna, Molina, all hitting from the right side. The release point for the pitcher gets a lot easier if they can face 4 of them.
One and 2 on Fowler. Pitch number 51 only this afternoon for Giolito, and it's a towering pop-up. Yolmer for out number 3. That's an 8-pitch 5th for the double park 23-year-old Lucas Giolito.
There's 4 hits combined. Sox have 3 of them. The Cardinals just 1 lone hit. That an infield hit by Molina in the second.
60 pitches through 5 for Martinez, and he's got ball 1 to Yohan Moncada, who walked to lead off the game. And the Sox had 2 on, nobody out in that first inning, and you and I had that same feeling that we have quite a bit. You get to him now, or you may not get to him.
You want to see him well. I think this is the inning the Sox break through.
You do?
Yeah, he's had 2 nice at bats, a walk, and he lined out in the third. A little tardy on that one. That was a 92. So Carlos has about 6 more miles an hour sitting there waiting. And it's so much like a very young Justin Verlander. Verlander wasn't like that when he was the age of Martinez. He got like that later on. Last night, Verlander was brilliant.
14 strikeouts.
He leaves after 8 innings, striking out 14, which ties his career high. Shutout baseball. His team hasn't scored, so he gets a no D, and Giles comes in and gives up a 4-bagger, highlighted by Sanchez's home run.
And the self-punch by Ken Giles.
Yep, and that's true. Now we'll see if Yadier wants a straight change.
3-2. Upstairs with a fastball for the strikeout. So Carlos Martinez with 5 strikeouts since the beginning of the 4th inning.
Decides to go upstairs. It's not his best fastball, but it's a location as opposed to the velocity that fools Moncada. He expanded his zone, and it cost him.
1 down for Sanchez, who was the poster boy for Saturday's Los White Sox soccer jersey. That'll be given away at the ballpark before the game against the Twins on Saturday. There's the off-speed pitch, down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Martinez very hard to square up. Young Sox fans in attendance, like in the concession stands.
I don't know what it is about ice cream like that at the ballpark. It just tastes a little bit better when you're at a baseball game.
Young man's inspecting it, saying, "Yeah, I think that one looks good."
To third. Carpenter is on it. And 2 down.
That one hit awfully hard, but right at Matt Carpenter.
Hey, watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription, includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. And who needs a spoon, right? There was the deep inspection earlier, but that's the best way to do it. Just take the trough and throw it at you. There you go. Make sure there's none on the rim. Great rebounder, that kid. Takes everything off the rim.
He might be.
Two 2-0. To right field at Fowler. 9 in a row pushed away by Martinez. Bottom 6, still nothing across.
and click on the Game Zone for the latest stats and information. UI Health, from comprehensive stroke care to a world-class transplant team, UI Health is changing medicine for good. Visit uihealth.care.
The cleanup.
That's always the case. And the cleanup and cover-up usually is more damaging than the initial act. So we know that from history. That young man is just learning it. Now they got to go and swab him down.
You just call that kid a little Nixon?
No. Absolutely not. I would never do that.
0-1 turns to 0-2 on DeYoung.
Might have a dog named Checkers, but you know, that's just a coincidence.
See, that's how you just stick with it, right? You're planning for more food. You don't clean up now. You're going to go eat something else. Just missed. Pretty soon we're going to go back to that kid. There's going to be a bite out of the bowl.
In the meantime, that pitch was on the outside corner, did not get the call from Sam Holbrook. But even when Lucas is missing today, he's missing with a purpose, and that's very impressive.
Breaking ball off the plate. Twice now, after feeling like he had strike three, he's thrown a curveball that's missed badly. Last time, the next pitch after that turned into the strikeout pitch.
He wants that little slider away, I do believe. And he did swing.
Yep, he does get the swing and miss. One down. Time to quiz Steve on his own career. It's brought to you by Volkswagen. Sticks and Stone. Visit your local Volkswagen dealer or VWdealer.com. Which former Cardinal homered, doubled, and singled in 5 career at-bats against you?
Well, it better be Keith Hernandez, or I'm going to be 92 years old. Because Red is 95. Stan is would be an elder statesman. And if it's not Keith Hernandez, then this game is fixed.
I think Sticks and Stone by Volkswagen just made an old joke.
Well, I mean, if the shoe fits, but it would have to be Keith, who I'm sure, being a left-hander and co-MVP and one of the great left-hand hitters around.
Keith's Twitter profile is as fierce as yours.
Really?
Yeah, he's a good Twitterer.
I would never do that. I feel that it's not what I'm looking for.
It's not?
No, someone else has one, though, that I think is tweeting those things.
Oh, from your name. Somebody hacked your account.
They did. They continue to do it.
How about Giolito today? 59 pitches through 5 1/3. Burley was here yesterday.
And amazing, because he's going and throwing strike one just about each and every time.
Ground ball, Moncada. No need for bullpens so far.
Not to this point. And the one thing that's going on, it could have been a better series in Kansas City. Right now the road trip is 3-3. However, the starting pitching in each and every game, even in the bullpen game of Hector Santiago going to the mound, the starting pitching has been brilliant. The ERA's been right around 2, maybe a little less, for every game started on this trip. That part of it's been really good, and consequently the bullpen is not burned out.
Martinez hits it well left field, and my, oh my, the shutout is broken by the opposing pitcher.
That would be home run number 1. That would be run batted in number 1. And that was a no-doubter. So we told you he could swing the bat pretty well. We had no idea he had that kind of power. But that fastball on the inner portion winds up a home run. And while Martinez gets a standing ovation from this very appreciative crowd, it's our 4th drive of the game, and it's gone. So you can visit your local Ford store or buyfordnow.com, as the tie is untied. And the man with no home runs has one.
Ever in his career.
It looked like he could really hit on that swing. Adam Wainwright with a big congratulatory hug. Wainwright at 6'6", I believe. Martinez around 5'10" and a half. I'm not sure if they can believe that, but believe it they shall. Nice reaction shot. They were incredulous.
And they had every reason to be.
Yeah. Strange game.
It is. As calm of seas as we've seen offensively for two teams all year. And it's broken up by the chucker in red and white.
You just have, the thing you have to hope is, because he hasn't had a home run trot in his career in the major leagues, that perhaps this will tire him out, because all he was doing was walking to the mound and back from the mound. He wasn't doing a whole lot of covering the bases because nobody's really hit the ball very well. So we'll see how it affects him. In the meantime, we'll see how it affects Lucas, because he was sailing right along. Supreme confidence. That's just the second hit he's given up. But right now he's moved to a 3-2 count.
It's his first full count of this game.
He got him outside with a breaking ball a couple of times.
Fastball up and in. He fouls it away.
You would think one more of those quick breaking sliders would give Pham the hat trick.
Three and two. A little bit low. Ball four. First walk for Giolito.
Now you got to watch him running, because Pham in this situation, especially with Carpenter up, he's probably going to be going. The Cardinals don't run a lot, and Pham has not been horribly effective when he's run, but he does lead the team in stolen bases. He's got 5 of them. He's been caught 4 times. As Martinez has a chance to take a cool drink, relax, and hope his team gives him a little more insurance.
I know Carpenter is a patient hitter, but would you think about swinging at the first pitch here?
I don't think I would, no, because what I want to do in this situation is I want a base hit by Carpenter to score a run. In order to do that, you got to have Pham steal, and you just as soon not lead off next inning with Martinez if you could lead off with Carpenter. So it's a win-win situation if Pham does go, and to do that, you couldn't have a more patient hitter than Carpenter, who will take pitches until Pham does go, if indeed he's thinking about it.
Ball one. Carlos Martinez, his first career homer, as the Cardinals leading 1-0 in the home 6th.
This becomes a good pitch to run if Pham wants to, because you very rarely see a pitch out here, and he's going to get an inside fastball to Carpenter.
Pham doesn't go, and it's 2-0. Two balls, no strikes. Giolito to Carpenter. Pham runs. Great jump. And he is in there easily.
Lucas went to a little longer delivery and no chance at all for Omar. Pham, even though spinning his wheels, made it easily, because he didn't get a clean jump. We'll take another look right there. He spun his wheels, but he knew in this case that Carpenter was taking. He never looked back for contact. And so when you don't look back, you know that the hitter's not going to swing. And at 2-0, there's undoubtedly Carpenter got a take sign.
Even while he was spinning his wheels, he was 2/5 of the way there. Giolito released the ball. 3-0. So now homer, walk, and we may see Don Cooper. There he is on his way out of the dugout. The infield converges. Giolito frustrated with himself after sailing along through 5 2/3.
You never really know how that untying home run with 2 outs is going to affect you. But we have seen back-to-back walks after that, so this is a good trip to the mound for Don Cooper, settling down Lucas, who had everything going his way, then gave up the shocking home run to Martinez, shocking because he had never hit one. And so 2 outs, nobody on has yielded a run, and then the 2 walks brings up the other Martinez, who is hitting in the middle of this lineup and is a run producer. He's got 18 driven in.
He's 0 for 6 in the series. 2 strikeouts, a double play in this game. Struck out once last night to make the 2. He makes Coffee nervous at the plate.
A lot of movement, but he seems to get everything back still before the pitch gets there, and that time he swung through an off-speed pitch.
Yeah, he may not see a pitch in the zone anymore. It's 0-2.
Doesn't have to, because he's going to be hacking at just about anything.
Carpenter at first, Pham at second, and it's Giolito facing Martinez. Breaking ball on the ground. Anderson. And Jose is there to collect out number 3. Carlos Martinez, though, breaks our tie. 1 swing, and the pitcher so far has the deciding run for the Cardinals.
Cub manager Whitey Lockman, who was a terrific player in his day. I played under Whitey, as a matter of fact, and you look at those numbers and those records, and you look at Doral, Norman, Elvert, Whitey, Herzog. He built 3 different organizations. One he built 2 times. Herzog was not only a great manager, he was a wonderful talent evaluator. So shop in store or online at mybobs.com and dare to compare. The White Rat, they called him.
Affectionately, of course.
Well, sometimes not. But he was a wonderful baseball man. And, you know, there wasn't anything that he never did on the baseball field. He was a very good player. And the fact that he could assemble baseball teams, had a vision of what a team should look like. He did it in Kansas City. He did it again here. He helped do it with the Angels one point. I mean, Whitey was just brilliant. Great baseball mind. And one good story, they were honoring him. And the elder Bush of the Augie Bush variety was speaking at the banquet and said, "Whitey, you've got a lifetime contract." Whitey said, your life or mine.
Great line. Delmonico grounds out, one away. Some of the truly greatest of all time have come through St. Louis. Albert Pujols, of course, most recently. And on the cover of the media guide, Bob Gibson celebrating the 50th anniversary of his 1.12 ERA season.
That was 68. I faced him in 71. It was not a pleasant experience.
Not a happy camper on the mound.
I had hit Joe Torre.
Okay.
First time up. He was a third hitter. I hit him in the arm, and when I came to bat in the third, I looked at the catcher, Jerry McNerney, and I said, does he think I hit Torre on purpose? He said, we'll see. And so he threw the first pitch right behind my head. Had I seen the pitch, and I didn't, it was the only pitch I lost in my entire career. I never saw it. It exploded right behind my head, and I never had a chance to move backward. So I just looked at McNerney. I said, is this over? He said, yeah, it's over. And that was the way at the time baseball was played. He had to know I wasn't throwing at Torre, but he decided to let me know that he knew that I did indeed hit him, and was reminding me that he didn't like to see his stars hit.
Well, you've got to think that having a baseline rule of the game changed because of you and how good you are is a confidence booster. Not that he needed that in the first place.
It wasn't only Gibson, because Gibson, that first start, I believe, gave up something like 5 earned runs. It might have been against the Giants, but Louis Tiant had a 1.60 ERA in the American League, which at that point was really strong. American League was a powerful league in '68. And so they lowered the mound. And they took the mound down to, I believe at the time, 10 inches high, which is where it stands at this point, trying to even it out between pitcher and hitter. But Denny McLain won 31 games that year. So pitchers dominated in 1968, and then they've tried since to make some rules so hitters could actually hit.
Garcia to left, and that sits down, so it's a one-out single for Leury Garcia. That's something Lucas Giolito was marveling about as we were touring the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. He said, can you believe somebody would be so good that they would change the rules for you? I mean, that is, it's almost hard to fathom. And it's, of course, not just him, but Bob Gibson's year that year contributed, certainly. I didn't realize until I was reading about Bob Gibson that his baseball coach at Creighton in Omaha was eventually a very good basketball coach, Bill Fitch, who was in the NBA for a long time and happened to be coaching baseball at Creighton.
Well, he was a wonderful baseball player. I believe Gibby played for the Harlem Globetrotters for a bit. So his talent was enormous in every aspect of the game. And he's one of the few guys who could fall off the mound drastically to the first base side and still cover the mound. He was so athletic that you couldn't get a ball by him back up the middle.
From everything I've read, it suggests that he wasn't there to be your friend.
No, he effectively ruined the career of a great Giants hitter. There was a guy by the name of Jim Ray Hart, and I was told at the time you could stand by the batting cage and close your eyes and Mays could come up there, Willie McCovey could come up there, Orlando Cepeda could come up there. I mean, these are great players. These are Hall of Fame players, as well as all the Alous who could come up there. But when Jimmy Ray came up, if you were blindfolded, you could tell he hit the ball harder than everybody.
Is that right?
And then Bob Gibson happened to hit him. And nobody will say that it was on purpose, but he happened to hit him in a area that you talked about last night. He hit him in the scapula, which is the back of the shoulder, and it fractured it so badly that Jimmy Ray could never throw again. And he was a third baseman, and without a real strong arm, I mean, that pretty much did him in because that's the only position he could play. I ran into him in the minor leagues, and he just couldn't throw. And it was from that fastball that he took in the scapula from Bob Gibson.
We are on a 2-game scapula streak.
That's right. They've made appearances twice. And I had to finally tell you about the external occipital protuberance. So I thought you would dig that up, but you never did.
Well, you teased it so well, I figured we'd just leave it until today. It's a bump on the back of your head? Is that
everybody has one, right? Yeah, at the base, just as skull goes down into your neck.
You think I have useless facts?
Well, that's true. I'm a cornucopia of useless facts.
That misses. Omar tosses his bat, and the Sox have a rally brewing here in the 7th, down a run. We have a sticks and stone answer for you, which you already gave us.
I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I got one right, and we're seeing a trip to the mound by Mike Maddox. So
let's see. Is it Keith Hernandez? It is.
Just strictly generational wise, it would have to be Keith Hernandez.
So with Magic Loogie.
With Maddox out to the mound after a Seinfeld reference, they're going to break it up now as Sam Holbrook comes out. And Maddox will hang around for just a bit longer and gives him the old pound on the chest. He invariably goes out there, and this is an idiosyncrasy. First thing he does is he puts his hand on the pitcher's shoulder, as if to say, we're in this together, calm down, relax. And as you can see, 20 in the fourth. That's the only semblance of problems until this right here. So the first inning saw a walk and a single, nobody out then with 2 on. This time there's 1 out with 2 on, and a chance for a guy that would dearly love to get a hole in 1.
He's got 2 ground balls today, and Daniel takes ball 1. Daniel Palka has bounced out to the left side of the infield twice. Six for 18 in his very short White Sox career so far.
It's going to be tough for anybody to throw out Leary at the plate on a base hit. Bullpen up and going. Cardinals have a left-hander getting loosened up in a hurry. They recently recalled a left-hander. Now they have 2 out in the pen, and that's Tyler Lyons.
Ball and a strike. Now 1 and 2 on Palka. Tim Anderson next.
He heated him up that time, threw a little bit harder. He's been throwing 92. That was 94. Again, he does have 98 if he wants to go with the high fastball again.
To second base. Wong, DeYoung, double play. Close the book on top 7. Still 1-0 St. Louis.
Going places, let's go places right there, and you can see let's go places because that's where they go. So Carson Fulmer, the last couple of starts was brilliant. ERA of 138, 2-0 in those starts. Rest of the numbers very good. He's getting most everything over the plate. Carson Fulmer is starting to figure it out. So with Toyota, let's go places. That is the going places with Toyota.
I think your batteries are dying.
It's been a long road trip.
It has been. We've seen everything Missouri has to offer, and then some.
St. Louis barbecue happens to be pretty good, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. especially when you walk 10 blocks out of the way to get there.
You did it backward, though. You had barbecue at St. Louis when we were in Kansas City for 4 days.
Had it there, too.
It's true. Ozuna first. Bottom 7 for the Cardinals. And he goes after the first pitch. Into right center, where Garcia is stationed. Round number 1. The Xfinity Kid Zone is accessible from all levels of guaranteed rate field. The space features batting and pitching cages, base running areas, and skill instruction from Chicago White Sox Training Academy coaches. Check out the latest Xfinity technology, including the X1 platform, X1 by Xfinity. It'll change the way you experience TV, and you'll go places.
By the way, I am willing to spot you 4 runs in Texas against Cleveland.
Is that right?
Yeah. Corey Kluber's on the mound.
Matt Moore already did that, so I don't know that I can take that gambit.
Well, it's now 10-2.
Ooh.
And Kluber seems to be in command, which he normally is. He's thrown the ball unbelievably well.
Looked at the Braves box score last night. I thought Mike Soroka made his major league debut again.
Looked like it, but it was Mike Soroka. To go with some of the young talent they have, Albies and Acuna and Dansby Swanson, who came over in a trade for Shelby Miller. They got Inciarte and they got Swanson from the Diamondbacks. Yikes. What a deal that wasn't as far as the Diamondbacks were concerned. However, the Diamondbacks have themselves a wonderful start this year. I mean, they're doing things that they haven't done before, which is dominating the West. And with San Francisco down, the bullpen up, Aaron Bummer and Chris Beck, you have to say that the Diamondbacks in pretty good shape. They're 6 games ahead of Colorado, who's in 2nd place. And the Dodgers at 12-17, 9 games out of 1st.
Diamondbacks won their first 9 series of the year, and they battered Clayton Kershaw last night.
They're 21-8 overall, 11-3 at home, 10-5 on the road. They're really getting it done. And against the West, they're 15-5. So you win 75% of the games in your division, you're going to win the division.
Just off the corner, 3-2. You mentioned the Braves. They have the 3 youngest players currently in Major League Baseball.
All their youngsters have come up together. And that combination at the top with Albies and Acuna, they're just hard pressed to do things wrong. Plus, you got Freddie Freeman, who's a graybeard on that team, and he's still relatively young.
3-2. Molina does what he does. He goes the opposite way for his 2nd hit this afternoon.
Molina, tough guy to strike out, and in a situation where he does get to 2 strikes, he will put the bat on the ball. So he gets one up in the zone and takes it into right field. I don't think we'll see a stolen base in this scenario. Here comes Ricky Renteria, and apparently at the 82 pitch mark, he's going to want to make a change. So far, no sign yet. Sam Holbrook is coming out to break this up, and he just wanted to give him a pep talk and leave him in the ball game. So Ricky, with a confidence builder, saying, get out of this inning, turn it over to the offense, keep it at 1-0, and we'll try to come back at a mighty tough opponent. He probably didn't editorialize quite that much, but the message was the same. Goes, give me whatever you got, because you're not going out for the next inning anyway. So whatever you have to get out of this inning, show it to me. And a lot of times, if a pitcher realizes when the manager does come out, occasionally he'll look in the eyes of a pitcher. If he likes what he sees or ask him a question and he likes the answer, he'll leave him in.
Giolito to Fowler. Strike 1. For Lucas today, by far a season high 15 swinging strikes. His swing and miss stuff is back.
So far, it's 17 first pitch strikes out of the 24 hitters. And normally when you do that, you're going to whip up a pretty good performance. And today, Lucas has been brilliant. The appeal is no appeal as DJ Rayburn just enjoying the sunshine and the beautiful temperatures, but not wanting to get involved.
Less is more.
Yeah, I don't want to be involved in that.
2-1. And a throw to first on Molina, who again might decide to start the engines.
Well, if he does with the lead he's been taking, he'll get to second base as we're pulling into Chicago tonight.
As the rooster crows on Thursday.
Because that lead, you could, have a physical problem and fall on the bag.
Three balls and a strike on Fowler.
Have to believe that if Lucas does not get Fowler, he will not be facing DeYoung.
Three-one. Center field, Garcia back at the warning track and the wall. It's gone. Dexter Fowler takes Giolito deep, and the Cardinals lead 3-0.
Fourth home run. Dexter Fowler's now driven in 14. That was straight over the 400 mark in center field. Neither team has hit the ball particularly hard today, but when you do, it's a very lively ballpark here in St. Louis, especially today. And Fowler chases Leary back to the wall. He can only look up. So that is going to be it, and Lucas will depart after a fine outing. He just ran into a mound opponent who was that much better, and will step out as he walks out. We'll be back. Giolito was very good today as bum run for the 14th time. The opponent's batting average at 328. That is not as he liked it. He's got a good sinker. When he gets it near the zone, it's pretty tough, and he's going to deal with DeYoung and Wong, and hopefully not Boom Boom Martinez, who started off the scoring last inning. He missed it. Carlos Martinez, the starting pitcher, who's been close to unhittable today, also had the first home run of his career. Dominic Leone losing in the bullpen. We saw him last night. Hard throwing right-hander, came out of the Toronto organization. And Lucas, he's probably disappointed with the ending of this one, but it didn't diminish what he did through 6 innings.
A lot of good signs for you today, right? For
yeah,
Giolito?
Absolutely. And he's starting to look like the guy that we saw last year. Young pitchers have a tendency, when things get rolling, to start to give up some runs. He was coasting along easily through 5 2/3 and then gave up a first ball fastball home run.
Moncada spears it and throws out DeYoung. So Yoan Moncada showing the range, and the jig is up for DeYoung, who's 0 for 5 in the series.
Well, it looks to me like a Danley's defensive play as Yoan ended up between short and third. This looks like a base hit when it goes by Bummer. Yoan has other ideas. The nice flip, the fact is it's right on the button. You couldn't throw it any more accurately, despite the fact that he threw it across his body running away from the throw, and yet got it there in plenty of time to nail DeYoung. So when you think of garages or garages, think Danley's.
Been around Essex or London?
A lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm a world traveler.
I hope David Kaplan was watching that play by Moncada. He was a little lukewarm on Yoan's defense on our pregame show yesterday. Hi, Cap.
That's what I heard.
Get a razor.
Oh, geez.
He's got all that facial hair. He doesn't need that.
Well, you grow it in places you can, Pally. Case of David, he's been bald since 3 years old.
Ball and a strike to second base. All we do is make friends in afternoon baseball. 2-run homer for Dexter Fowler. We'll play the 8th after this. With the lead over the Sox, and it'll be Tim Anderson in the pitcher's spot, and Yoan Moncada in inning number 8 trying to solve Martinez. It was a 2-run homer for Dexter Fowler that added to the lead for St. Louis.
And Martinez is out there with a string on his back. As long as he's coasting along, Mike Matheny will go with him, but any sign of trouble, the bullpen is continued to throw. It was Leone up. Looks like he had a little company briefly, but he's not going to be terribly patient. He realizes his youngster has taken this game once again deep. You talked about the streak that he has, a remarkable streak for pitchers in this day and age, and it continues here this afternoon.
64 straight starts now that he's gone at least 5 innings.
And there's Dominic Leone.
Ball and a strike on Anderson, who along with his wife Bria has started a scholarship in honor of their friend who passed away last year, Brandon Moss, with Tim honored with his Players Weekend jersey. Here DeYoung has no play, and Tim has an infield single, so the Sox have the leadoff man aboard in the 8th. And here is an Instagram post from Tim about the new scholarship that they've started, $500 to 2 Hillcrest High School students. Tim and Brandon both are Hillcrest High alums. Brandon, his friend who passed away last year. And to the students who ended up winning, Reagan Ross and Lorenzo Winston submitted essays about their experience with violence and how violence negatively impacts our world. So Tim, certainly something very close to his heart as Davidson steps in to pinch hit, one of 4 righties on the bench today for Ricky Renteria.
Matt shouldn't judge all the pitches by that 93. We've seen Martinez throw 98 today. He only threw it on 1 pitch, but he has thrown 94. I think 1 pitch at 95. So he's got it. He just hasn't used it because he is pitching. He's not throwing today. But 1 swing of the bat by Matt, and this becomes a much more interesting game than it's been. And 1 more guy that Martinez does not retire, and he will retire from the game as he's right at the 95 pitch mark. Problem is he throws sinkers. Sinkers yield ground balls.
Check swing. No dice. 2 balls and a strike. Like to take your chances with the bullpen instead of Martinez.
There's no doubt about it.
Two and 1. Tim's off. Throw down to second is not in time. 9th steal, 10 tries for Tim Anderson.
Time now for IDOT Safe Play. Reminding you that safe driving habits really are a matter of life or death. Visit lifeordeathillinois.com, and there it is. From his knee, Tim looks back because it is not the hit and run. He wants to see if there's any contact, and he just looks back. The ball was taken, and Matt now in the driver's seat at 3 and 1.
Three-one pitch. In there for a strike, top of the zone, 3 and 2.
Martinez knows that he's on the precipice of departing this game, so he broke 95 out of the bag, and he kept it up.
Right-hand side, Fowler toward the line. Tim thought about tagging, and Fowler throws a dart.
He had all the best of it because he was charging that. It was not a deep fly ball, and Tim just wanted to force a throw. He did, and the throw was right there. It's a nice job of getting in position for a guy without an overpowering right fielder's arm, but you're not going to run from that one, and that's going to be it. So Matheny's going to go to the bullpen. Just a fine day by Carlos Martinez.
So the Sox will have a chance to get to the bullpen, and Dominic Leone, the former Toronto Blue Jay. Standing ovation for Martinez. Here in St. Louis from some. 7 1/3. If you haven't heard, by the way, Chicago's 5 sports teams have partnered with the Chicago Police Department to deal with violent crime in the city. Yesterday, White Sox and Bulls representatives visited the Strategic Decisions Support Center at the 7th District headquarters, the Nerve Center, where high-tech tools are used to predict where violent crimes may occur, and it's been credited as a successful violence reduction tool in Chicago.
The safety of the citizen is paramount to everything, and just knowing now what resources are being put into it, the alliance that the 5 professional sports teams have created to come up with the funds to help out in this regard, really impressive. But it's the officers that are doing the work.
You know, these are the people that keep us safe, and we got a first-hand instruction on just how safe and just how protected and committed to protecting the community that these people are. And I just can't describe really the effort, you know, that this city has taken upon itself to do, to make a dent, make a real difference in the crime statistics across the board.
And the numbers tell a story. I mean, it's incredible how successful they have been with what they're doing here. And we're happy to help out in a very small way.
Great initiative, certainly, that the Sox and Bulls and all the teams are involved in.
Now we got Dominic Leone out. We saw him last night, so it's an early turnaround for him. He's been a busy man, on for the 15th time. He pitched an inning, gave up a hit, but he struck out 2 last night. He inherits Tim Anderson at second base. He's going to the top with Moncada in this 3-0 game. Time to peck away. Let's get some before Norris comes in the game. Norris was very tough in his 1 inning of work in the 9th to preserve a 1-run lead. At the time was a 1-run deficit and became a 1-run lead and game over as they won dramatically in the bottom of the 9th.
Just when the Cardinals thought they might be able to use Holland as the closer, he blew a save in Pittsburgh over the weekend, part of that 3-game sweep at the hands of the Pirates. So Bud Norris, for the time being, is the closer for the Cardinals, as Moncada takes high and away off the glove of Molina, and Tim takes third.
I don't think they dare give him a pass ball here in St. Louis. It's probably one that he might have enjoyed catching. We'll watch it again. And it is a pass ball. Should have been. Kind of surprised there. Most likely Hall of Famer to be charged with a pass ball.
Yohan Moncada now with a chance with just a fly ball to get that first run home for the Sox this afternoon. He's been hitting the ball hard when he's hit it this year. He is top 7 in Major League Baseball in average exit velocity. And there's been, at least recently, no pattern to where you can pitch him safely.
Not with the fastball.
Off the plate, outside, 2-1. Here is the heat map for his exit velocity. You see a couple of spots where there's a little less juice off the bat, but anywhere in the zone, pretty much, you're going to get hurt. 2-1.
Time he cut one in on his hands at 90 and turned out to be a good pitch.
Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. 8th inning. Yolmer next. Way outside, 3-2.
Except for that cutter inside, this whole at bat, as you can see there, has been out of the strike zone away. If he feels good about the cutter, we'll probably see it here, because he has not been able to hit with the fastball, and I believe that that's it.
Came inside. Moncada spoiled it off the tarp.
He has a hard time getting inside with the fastball, but he can get inside with the cutter, and he threw it there. Molina sets up late, which is a good thing. You don't mind a catcher doing that. Molina stayed outside and then at the last instant moved inside on the cutter.
(3-2). Challenged him at 97.
Let me explain to you how a catcher will try to buy a strike. Watch how far outside Molina's body is. Look at where the glove is. The tip of his glove is over the outside corner, which means that the whole glove, you're buying 3 inches outside if you hit the glove. And if you hit the glove, you're getting the call from Sam Holbrook. That's why Molina steals a lot of pitches for his pitchers. You see it again right there.
Missed, ball 4, and the tying run comes to the plate in the form of Yolmer Sanchez for the Sox. Second walk for Yohan Moncada today.
Well, perhaps the same thing will happen today as happened to Verlander in Houston, where for 8 innings nothing was happening. He departed, and Ken Giles came on, gave up a 4-bagger. They lost the ball game.
And that was to Gary Sanchez. Maybe Yolmer Sanchez can provide the thunder here. We like symmetry. Jose Abreu's next, so it doesn't get much easier at all in any way.
Leon having some big problems with the strike zone. And Yolmer, 294 from the left side coming in, just 185 from the right side. So if you're going to pick a spot, every one of his runs batted in, it's come as a left-hand hitter.
Called a strike. 1-1.
Cardinal pen up and going. It's Bud Norris once again. What we saw last night was pretty impressive. He's picked up 3 or 4 miles an hour now that he's become a closer.
Too far upstairs. 2 balls, 1 strike. Molina is really busy back there trying to draw strikes for his pitchers.
Yes, he is. And it looked like Moncada was ready to go on the last pitch, but could not get that much of a jump.
And Leon felt the same.
I would think a base hit here would bring Norris into the game for an extended save opportunity.
Even with last night.
Even with last night. Don't forget, this guy was a starting pitcher most of his career, so I don't think Mike Matheny is worried about extending him in the save.
There's a strike.
That's a strike that Molina buys. Now that had a little piece of the plate, but it probably looked a whole lot better with where Molina set up.
By the way, don't think anybody's going to accuse Mike Matheny of protecting relievers.
No.
His usage rates are pretty high. Two and two. Into left field and down. Moncada was running. He finds his way to third. Anderson scores. It's 3-1.
If Yolmer takes the aggressive turn and watches that throw with no cutoff man, and now Moncada is down on the grass. Remember, he fouled the ball off his foot the first inning, and it looks like maybe a calf muscle. This is not good. As watch Yolmer. This is a base hit, and Ozuna can't throw. We watch this throw. Throwing to third base is not the key there. You got to throw to second. You got to make sure the trailer doesn't go to second base. And Yolmer stayed at first. Moncada now is up. So Hermie out there to have a talk with him. Looked like he might have jammed the front. Might have jammed his ankle on the slide. And Hermie's going to take him in.
Well, this provides an interesting scenario for the Sox. Davidson just pinch hit, so you'd imagine Matt would come in defensively now as the Sox shapeshift on the infield.
Trace Thompson comes on the pinch run, carrying with him the second run. The tying runs at first base as Yolmer comes through. Yolmer with 2 hits. Closed the book on Martinez at 7 1/3, 1 run, 5 hits, a couple of walks and 5 strikeouts. And Leon stays in the game. This is very much a gamble by Mike Matheny. Jose is swinging it a little bit better in this series after his bout of flu-like symptoms in Kansas City.
2 for 7 in the series, a double today, and he looks at strike 1.
Okada was running on the pitch. That allowed him easily to get into third base, because normally if you're not running on a short base hit, you're probably not going to gamble. Not 2 runs down.
By the way, Yolmer at first looks like Martinez's nephew. I mean, come on.
Well, 6'7" and take your pick. 5'7", 5'8". What is Yolmer these days?
He's not that. Yolmer at first, Trace at third, and the 0-2. Abreu to right center field. Pham is back on it. Thompson will tag. The Sox get another run on the sac fly from Abreu, and suddenly it's 3-2.
That ball hit awfully hard, and Leon doesn't really have it today. And I think Mike Matheny is noticing that rather than see line drives over the ballpark, he's going to take him out. So there will be a double shift. Wong is going to depart the ball game. So Matheny's going to we're going to take Wong down in his spot, put the new second baseman into the 9 spot, and then move, I think, Bud Norris into the spot occupied by Wong, who, by the way, made the final out in the 7th inning. So we'll step out. We'll be back after these messages as Bud Norris steps in. He's going to hit in the 9th spot. Bud Norris comes on. He's going to hit in the 8th spot, vacated by Wong. And there you look at, on for the 15th time, 5 for 5 in saves. This is one of those. ERA of 188. He inherits the tying run in the person of Yolmer Sanchez, standing at first base as he looks in at Nicky Delmonico with Lurie Garcia in the on-deck circle.
Just 2 kids from around the way, Bud versus Nicky.
That's it. Backyard stickball for a little bigger stakes.
Delmonico stakes.
Yeah.
Sanchez at first. First pitch, hunting a ground ball foul. Bud Norris, his first name is actually David, but when he was young, 3 years old in fact, he went to a restaurant with some family, and all the adults made their order, and they all ordered a beer, and he also ordered a beer because he heard them do it, and from then on he was called Bud instead of David.
Short lead at first by Yolmer, creeping out a bit. But this doesn't look to be the best stealing situation. You got one of the best in the business behind the plate, and Norris is not terribly slow to the plate. Still the pitchers of record are the starters. Lucas Giolito, who was very good. Carlos Martinez, who was brilliant.
Seven and a third, 1-run ball for Martinez.
There's a man that got the Cardinals to this point, gave up the 1 run. He gave up the single to Anderson before departing, getting 1 out this inning.
Fastball fouled away. 2 strikes on Nicky.
He's on 1-2, and a pitch has not been thrown in the zone yet, but he wants to hit something hard. The outfield is back. The arms in left and right are not good at all. And then you look at the pivot man. DeYoung's got a pretty good arm at shortstop, though not great, and Garcia has a decent arm at second. So the guy that's going to make the relay throw, the arms are not overpowering. You got to factor that in if you're thinking about scoring on a double. It's not necessarily the outfielder, but the man who's going to make the relay throw.
Sox with 2 runs in the inning, looking for the equalizer here in the 8th. Every pitch you force Norris to expend this inning is one he's a little more tired for next inning.
Well, he went 1-2-3 in the 9th last night. It was a pretty rapid inning.
Ground ball foul.
He's got a little cut motion on that fastball as he stays pretty much over the top. Tries to bury it inside on Nicky, and he fouls it off.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Called strike 3. Borderline. Nicky didn't like it. Sox will take 2 and re-rack it in the 9th.
Matt Davidson stays in the game, play third base after pinch hitting. Yomer switches over from third to second. Carpenter, if anybody gets on Martinez, and so this becomes a big inning for the Cardinals. They're desperately looking for some insurance.
Couple of close games in this series. Cardinals walked it off yesterday in game 1. Sox trying to come back in game 2 after the home run from the pitcher. Carlos Martinez cracked the scoring in this game back in the 6th. So first called a foul ball.
Jose tried to get that one as quickly as possible while it was in fair territory, but wasn't able to do it. So in the flip-flop batting order of Mike Matheny, Garcia went in at second base in place of Colton Wong, who had made the last out last inning. So he's put into the 9 spot, so he leads it off. Then you put Bud Norris into the A spot. They won't have to worry about him for a while, and Matheny's hoping he won't have to worry about him until the Cubs come to town on Friday.
Into left field, and Trace Thompson makes the play.
That ball was hit hard, but fortunately Trace equal to the task. He glides to the ball, long strides, and made that play easily.
One down for Tommy Pham, who had a very odd situation a couple of weeks ago. He was pulled from the lineup as he has this hitting contraption that he evidently created, and the contraption hit himself in the head. So like the Ken Giles, but rather unintentionally. Pham ended up with some bleeding, had a big bandage on his head. Some reporters asked him to take the bandage off, and he said something about how nobody'd want to date him if he did take the bandage off. And
well, they haven't worked the bugs out of the contraption yet, apparently.
No, when it says inventor Rube Goldberg, you know you're in trouble. 2 balls and a strike on Tommy Pham, who again was very close to giving up baseball. He was frustrated in AAA, couldn't break the outfield here in St. Louis, and finally got his opportunity extensively last year and made just about everything he could with it. Seen a lot of pitches today from that top spot in the order.
And no contact. 2 strikeouts, a walk. But big power, as we saw, 454 last night leading off the ball game. That was a blast.
That was pitch number 22 in 4 trips to the plate for Tommy Pham today. Two off the plate outside.
You got to let him hit this one, because you're going to probably be throwing a double. This is the one consistent base stealing threat that they have. And if he does get on in this situation, he's going to be going. Probably the best thing's a fastball away and see if he can reach up and catch it out there.
Missed down though. Ball 4. 1 out walk for Pham. He already stole a base in the 6th, and he is on for Carpenter.
Mike Matheny was a former catcher and very rarely will run on the first pitch, because he realizes how easy it is on the first pitch to throw a pitch out. We're not seeing a whole lot of pitch outs these days. Managers just don't want to give up that one pitch, especially when a guy might be fighting his control somewhat. But Carpenter was one of the heroes of last night. And despite the fact that he's also had a contactless day, except if you consider getting hit some contact, he got grazed in the first inning. They haven't had any production out of the top 4 in the batting order, and hopefully it stays that way.
By the way, we mentioned Trace Thompson in left field making that catch to open the inning on Garcia's fly ball. The 4 spot is now the pitcher's spot. So the last out that was made in the 8th inning was Nicky Delmonico's. He is out of the game. Palka remains in right, and the pitcher's spot now batting 4th for the Sox. High in the air, Trace Thompson in left. And this is going to be a double play. Pham didn't know how many outs there were. He's toast. The umpires have those handy-dandy out counters. Maybe for Tommy's birthday, somebody will get him one. It's happened to the best of us. And the Sox will certainly take it to end the inning. To the ninth we go. And just a brain cramp.
Yeah, this is exactly what it is. He thinks there's 2 outs, so he's gone, and that's good. Except his coach, if he picked him up, is throwing up his hands before Pham got to second base. Jose Akendo, who's been around a long time, realized that even now, with rule changes, you still get 3 outs. So here is a key situation. The leadoff hitter is always the key in a 1-run game, and Leury looking out at Bud Norris, who's trying to come on for a 4-out save.
Former Astros starter Bud Norris against Garcia, Narvaez, and Polka, all left-handed against him.
This will not be an easy inning for Norris.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he didn't want to, didn't mean to, but he did.
It looked in real time like he might have been able to check it up. This is a tough pitch. Doesn't look to me like he swung. I saw the bat come forward, but you look at his hands, he never broke his wrist, and because there is no definition of a swing in the rule book, it's umpire interpretation. In this case, it's DJ Rayburn.
And that'll do it. 1 down. Omar's up.
Take another look. After bearing one low and in, he goes low and away. Perfect pitch, and Leury could not defend. Swung a little late. That's a big first out because the speed burner is in the dugout.
Lefties are hitting under 200 now this year against Norris.
He's got some exceptional movement away from the left-handers. And then his fastball, if you can call it that, it looks like a cutter, but it's 92 miles an hour, and he throws it in on the hands, and they can't get around on it. So completely different from the day that he started. And he's made 291 major league starts. So we're talking about a guy that started a lot. Coming into this year, he had a grand total of 19 major league saves, all last year with the Angels. That again is that little cutter that he throws down and into the lefties, and it's hard not to swing over the top of it.
Just a couple years ago, he really refined that pitch, and he's got 2 strikes on Omar. Oh, and 2. That's away. Sox trying to even up this series after a walk-off loss last night in the opener by this very score. One, 2. Just missed.
Well, that was a tough pitch to take, but Omar felt that he couldn't deal with it anyway, so he took it and got the benefit of the call because that had a piece of the zone. And even the great framing technique of Yadier Molina could not buy that strike, as you see where the 4 popped up.
Setup is inside on 2 and 2. Omar hits it well, right center field. Pham gets over there.
That almost got by, but we told you the Pham runs really well, and he is the best center fielder on this ball club. He hunts it down, he measures it, and almost at the last instant, he might have had some sun trouble with that because he didn't look all that sure when he made the catch. I'm not thinking he was looking at the baseball. I'm thinking maybe he was looking away, measured it with his glove, and it just happened to stick.
2 down, Daniel Palka.
Daniel loves the first pitch, and if it's a fastball, especially middle away, he's going to be swinging.
He does, and he rolls it to second. Garcia ends the series. Couple of 3-2 finals for the Redbirds.
Well, unfortunately, the Sox come up short. They battled the Cardinals. They came back in this one, but at the end, no dice. The Cardinals just too good, and Bud Norris was terrific in 2 outings.
Steve, enjoy your trip.
Thank you. Doesn't diminish the job by Lucas Giolito, and we will see you in a little bit.
Sounds good. See you after the Twins series. 3-2 your final score. St. Louis a winner over the Sox, and we will wrap it up for you after this.